And now, here's your host of Shaping Success, Wes Tankersley.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Shaping Success. I'm your host, Wes Tankersley. Today, we have an awesome guest for you, but before we get to that, do me a favor. Make sure that you're following, liking, sharing, reviewing the podcast wherever you can. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, and help me to reach more people. Today, we have an awesome guest, and it's on one of the platforms that I met her that I am on, TikTok. Super cool platform, which I've had the most amount of growth, but my friend Nikki has been there for a long time, and she's been very supportive of me, and I truly appreciate that. So we're going to talk to her about her success. Nikki, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's good to have you on here because I think that, you know, we kind of interact a lot, and the Nikki the Bacon Lover, which I think is super funny, is your your call sign on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Because I feel like, you know, I know you listen to the show, I know what it's kind of about, but to me, success is defined by every single individual differently. And there may be something that you're doing, that I'm doing, that someone else is doing that will help inspire them to chase their dreams.
Okay. Well, I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I'm the youngest of 4 kids. My dad was a phys ed and health teacher, and my mom used to be a hairdresser, but when she married my dad, she became a stay-at-home mom. And I have 2 brothers and a sister. And, well, being the youngest, of course, they teased me a lot.
Yeah, the baby's always the one that gets the least, right? I mean, I feel like growing up in my life, like I was the middle. So I'm kind of like, I always think of myself as I'm kind of very, like I can do both things, right? So the oldest gets everything first. The baby's the one who always gets picked on, I feel like. And then, yeah. But it doesn't seem like you don't strike me as the person who's like the baby. Because like in my family, the baby needed a lot of attention. You feel like you need a lot of attention?
Well, when I was little, my mom would tell me that they were concerned because I wasn't walking right away and I wasn't talking right away. And they took me to the doctor, and the doctor's like, she's just stubborn. You know, she'll do it when she's ready. And I wouldn't climb the stairs in our house. So one day she was looking at me, and I was at the bottom of the stairs, just looking up at the stairs. And then I just went right up, went right up the stairs. And she's like, and as far as talking is concerned, when I started talking in complete sentences.
Oh,
shit. I didn't talk until I was ready.
Yeah.
And as far as walking is concerned, everybody was always picking me up, being the youngest.
Yeah.
So it's like, why walk? People are going to pick me up. So I was pudgy, a little pudgy as a baby. And, but, you know, eventually I walked, and, you know, there you go.
Yeah. How did that go growing? Like, how big is the spacing? Because like in mine, we're all 2 years apart. So like there's 6 years difference between my little brother and my older brother. What was kind of the spacing there?
My oldest brother, he's the oldest. He's 7 years older than I am. Then my sister, she's 5 years older than I am. And then my brother is 15 months older than I am. So I guess, is that Irish twins? I don't know how that works. How far apart?
15. No, I think you got to be, I think you got to be within 12, right? Like it's got to be almost the same year. I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure.
Okay. So my brother, he and I are 15 months apart. We fought a lot, you know, always argued, and my brothers picked on me all the time, and my sister would stick up for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I always looked up to my sister, and now that I'm older, I look up to all my siblings, of course, but growing up, it was a bit of a challenge.
I bet.
Yeah.
So how do you, So you mentioned that your dad is a physical education teacher. PE is what I call that because I was a PE teacher too, which which is kind of cool. Did you play a lot of sports and things like that? Was there, I know that I had to coach, I had to teach, and I had to coach to make ends meet because that was just the way it was. And it wasn't very much, but it was a little bit more than what I was making. Did you go to a lot of games? Were you involved in a lot of athletics and things like that?
Well, our family is a basketball family. I was the only one who did not play basketball well. My brother, my three siblings, they played basketball. My sister got a scholarship to Villanova on a basketball scholarship. Nice. My brother was a really good basketball player. He didn't go to college for basketball, but and then I tried to do basketball in middle school. I made the team, which is good, but I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
And one time I remember I made a basket during a game, and I was so shocked. I just stood there like, and they're like, run, guard your man. I'm like, oops, sorry.
Yeah.
So basketball is not for me. I'm not a real aggressive person,
Uh-huh.
like on the field or anything like that. My sister, she was a pit bull on the basketball field. I think she holds the record. She might still hold the record. I'm not sure for like the most points, highest score. She has like a basketball with her name on it and everything like that. So.
Oh, dang. From Villanova or from high school or?
High school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was just going to say, I played volleyball and did track.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I was, kind of athletic. I wasn't like the best on the team or anything like that. I was probably average on the team.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
It wasn't really your interest though, it sounds like. I mean, so we've talked a little bit and you went to college, right? And you have a degree in English lit. Is that what it is?
Just English.
Just English? Okay. Sorry. I don't know. I'm not.
No, that's okay.
What were your thoughts on why would you, did you like to write? Was that just something that kind of interests you and you decided you're going to go to school to do that?
Well, honestly, English was the only thing I was good at. I stink at math. So I'm like, what major would have me have to take the least amount of math courses?
Right.
And my parents are like, you have to get a college degree. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I got good grades in high school. So, I went to Shippensburg University. A lot of people haven't heard of it. I don't know if you've ever heard of Shippensburg.
I haven't. Where's that at?
It's like 45 minutes from Harrisburg, maybe.
So it's in Pennsylvania?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. It's in the middle of nowhere. At least it was when I went there, but it's building up now. And it's like, wow, they have a Walmart? I mean, there was no Walmart. You had to go all the way to Chambersburg, like 15 minutes away to go to a Walmart.
Yeah.
There was nothing there
That's crazy.
Just farmland.
Yeah. So how did that go for you? How was that experience? I mean, did you live at home and drive back and forth, or did you live at the school, or how was that?
I lived in the dorm.
Lived in a dorm.
Yeah. Yeah. 45 minutes away. And I didn't drive at the time. I didn't drive until I was 20. I just wasn't ready. So I came home for Christmas and the holidays and sometimes on the weekends, but I met a lot of great people, met a lot of other people that like to write, like I like to write.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't go home very often, but I would call home and talk to my mom a little bit and she'd be like, okay, is there anything else? I'm like, that's it. I just wanted to say hi.
Oh, that's funny.
Your daughter. It's all good.
What did you like to write? What were you thinking after you were done? Because you don't write a lot now, do you?
I don't, I can't explain it, but it was like after my mom died, I got like this writer's block and I'm trying to get back into it. But it's very difficult to get back into it. So but yeah, in college and even in high school a little bit, I really like to write, and I like to write stories, but I wrote it in verse almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like I started out writing funny poems for my friends in high school. We're all very goofy friends, and I just write about all kinds of stuff and just to make them laugh. And then I started writing. Well, I don't know if you want to call it serious, but try to be more like eloquent with it. And I'll tell you, the group Live,
Uh-huh.
their album Throwing Copper was very inspirational for me for writing. And I love that album. I love them. And yeah, they just, I don't know, can't explain it, but they just kind of got me more into writing. And in college, I wrote a lot. I wrote all kinds of stuff.
So we've talked a lot about music. I think that that's something that's
Yeah.
pretty crazy because I think that we both look at it in a different way than most people do. A lot of people I know just like to listen to like the beat or the rhythm or whatever is going on in music. But I and I believe you at the same time like to listen to the words and kind of find meaning in what is going on in the music. It's kind of why I gravitate towards people like Jake Rose and Adelita's Way and Shinedown's kind of the same way. There's like all these bands that have music and lyrics that are uplifting. And I don't know that people necessarily understand what they're trying to do. I mean, even Red that you got behind you there, it's like their music always has meaning. So what is that kind of, you mentioned that Live kind of got you into writing a little bit more, and you're writing in verse. Are you writing songs kind of? Is that what it means? Like it could almost be sung. We should give it to AJ and let her sing it.
I don't know if it's song material. I don't have like a first part and then a chorus and then I don't know how to write songs, and I certainly don't know how to write music.
Where did your love for music come from?
My oldest brother is a metalhead. I remember being little. Like I said, he's 7 years older than I am. So I remember I would be laying in bed and he would be blasting all this metal music. He would blast Bon Jovi and Rat and White Snake, just all the metal bands. And it's like I would complain to my mom, can you tell him to turn down the music or something? And then after a while, I would just lay there and just listen to it. Mm-hmm. So I think, even now we talk about, oh, have you heard of this band? Have you heard of this band? And all that. So, and my mom liked Elvis and Barry White. So she loved music too. She wasn't into the whole rock thing. Right now, Shinedown's my favorite band. And she didn't understand maybe my love for Shinedown, but she got a kick out of it, I think.
Well, Shinedown's one of those ones that like I mentioned it before that The Sound of Madness was the very first song that I heard by them. And I just like the beat gets you and then the music gets you and you're just like, it's kind of like one of those ones that just, I could go jump on my bike right now and pedal faster than I ever pedaled before because that just pushes you. Right.
Right. Exactly.
So that's kind of the way that I look at it. Like I listen to I have this joke with my daughter. We're driving down the road and she says she's hungry. So then I put on Still Hungry by Adelita's Way, and she doesn't understand what the song's about. She just thinks I'm making fun of her because she's saying she's hungry. I hate this song. She just gets all mad. So what's your favorite Shinedown song and why?
Oh, wow. I love all their songs. My go-to is probably Unity because when that album Amaryllis came out, like March of 2012, it was a couple months before my mom passed away. Uh-huh. And that album it helped me get through that time. And I don't know why, but Unity just reminds me of my mom.
Uh-huh.
And I even have a tattoo with lyrics on there. Shine a light in the dark, let me see where you are, with a butterfly and with some green and purple. So that song just got me through. Of course, the whole album did too. Every time I hear it, I think of my mom. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's an interesting, it's funny because I think that a lot of our influences always come from our parents, and it sounds like your mom was pretty influential to you.
Yeah.
And then your dad also passed away as well a couple years back, right?
Yeah, about a little over a year ago, he did.
A little over a year ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so your mom, did she pass away recently or just before that, like way before that?
10 years ago.
10 years ago. Okay. So you had mom and dad mom's been 10 years, dad's been a year. Now your dad, he was a recipient of some organ transplants, right? Or an organ transplant?
Yeah. Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that and why that's important to you?
Yeah, absolutely. My dad had always had heart problems. In fact, his whole family had heart problems. The men in the family would have heart attacks and die before age 50. And he had his first heart attack at 49.
Oh, geez.
And yeah. And he had, quintuple bypass. 5 arteries had to be bypassed.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And the theme with my dad is it's go big or go home. If something's going to go wrong or a complication is going to happen, he's had it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's had the bypass. And then throughout the years, he had stents put in. He had angioplasties, which is like cleaning out the arteries through like a drill. I think at first they would use a balloon to open up the arteries, and then they would use a drill. And then eventually it's like he kept having to have that done more and more often, and it took a toll on his heart. So, and then he had a pacemaker put in. I mean, just like anything with the heart. I think the only thing he didn't need was a valve replacement.
Jeez.
Yeah, yeah. So, and he was very intuitive about his body. He wouldn't necessarily say anything. But then I think he did because he realized he did not want to die. That man wanted to live. He lived life to the fullest. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. He's a social butterfly. So he was just like, I don't feel good. I just don't feel good. And he would go to the doctor here in this area, and they would just kind of like, whatever. And then so he went to a cardiologist in Maryland, and for a while she was really good. I think his second bypass that he had 5 years later after his first bypass, they did it there in Maryland, and then he came to her around 2002, 2003, and was like, yeah, I just don't, you can't pinpoint it, but it's like, your body, you just didn't feel well, and he couldn't explain it. And I don't think at that point his heart was bad enough. She did some tests and it wasn't bad enough. And she just kind of, watch it. And then he's like, okay. And then he had a friend talk to him about the Cleveland Clinic and how he went there. I don't know if he had a heart transplant or what, but he said, oh, they're really good. They're top in the nation.
Yeah.
For like 10 years in a row. So he made an appointment in like June 2003. At this point, he was really feeling bad.
Yeah.
So he went to the Cleveland Clinic, and he got there, and they admitted him right away. They're like, yeah, we need to admit you. And then with organ donation, They have these panels to determine if you're a candidate.
Right.
And there's a lot of criteria. One of them's age. My dad was 67 when he went to the Cleveland Clinic, which we were like, he's going to be too old. But that's not the only criteria, thankfully.
Right.
His will to live, I think, really floored the doctors in a lot of ways. So they admitted him, they did a panel, they did tests, and they determined that he had 40% of his heart that was working. So they admitted him, and he was there for 6 months. And 6 months later, he got his heart. But there was a lot that went wrong, or, like I said, anything that could happen happened to him.
Yeah.
It got to the point he got really, really sick, and we thought he was on his deathbed. And I think at one point they said a heart did come in for him, but he was just too sick. He wouldn't have survived the surgery. So what they ended up doing is putting an LVAD in, a bilateral LVAD. And what they usually do is they put in, am I frozen?
Nope, you're good.
I am? Okay, I froze for a little bit. Okay.
You had a little bit of a thing, but you're fine.
Okay. Usually for LVADs, you put just one on the left side. But of course, my dad needed both right and left bilateral LVAD. And of course, there's no way he could go home. He was, like I said, he was in the hospital 6 months waiting for the heart. And so he got stronger on the LVAD. And then December 13th, 2003, he got his heart. So, and like I said, the doctors were just floored by him and his will to live.
Yeah.
And they even said at one point, he's just too sick. He's just too sick. But there were doctors that fought for him and was like, you know what? This guy has a will to live. I think we should give him a chance. So God bless the doctors that decided to give him a chance.
Well, it's crazy because you said he just passed away a little over a year ago, and that was 2013. So he got a lot of life out of that, like a lot more. He got to live a lot longer because of that.
Yeah, 17 and a half years.
Yeah. Did you say, I'm sorry, did I? You said 3, right? And I said 13.
Right, 2003. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. I was thinking that's a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think at one point he had to have lung surgery there because, it's just, but they told him the heart transplant, they said in about 15 years, you're going to need a new kidney because the anti-rejection medicines mess up your kidneys.
Right.
And they were pretty much right on point because 15 years later is when his kidneys started to shut down. And then he had to go into dialysis. So
did he get a kidney or they just did dialysis at that point?
They just did dialysis. There was no doctors would touch him. Yeah. At that point, I think he was 83 and they're like, we're not going to touch you. And he tried so hard. And the toughest part is none of us in the family could donate because we all had kidney stones.
Oh, dang.
I didn't realize that if you had a kidney stone, you're not a viable living donor.
That's crazy. But I guess that you could understand because I'm assuming if you had kidney stones at one point, you had some scar tissue in there that would probably stop things from happening or doing, like, it's not worth it to do it at that point.
Right.
So he got a heart and then he was on dialysis. So that's always an interesting thing. I have a friend who was on dialysis until he got a kidney transplant. He's a little bit younger, but it was funny when he got it. He was right back at it. And is there any concern like with your brothers? Because you said that the men in the family, it's kind of like the man side of it. Do your brothers do any do you have to as well? Obviously it's got to be kind of a family thing with heart issues.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. My dad was also diabetic. So
Okay.
that was, um, I mean, I saw cardiologists in 2020 because I thought I was having problems, but I think the problem was I wasn't drinking enough water. I think that was
Right.
the main thing. But I'm good so far. Uh, my brothers have been to cardiologists, and I think they see. I mean, my one brother's in Georgia, so
Hmm.
and I think he keeps up with his health.
Yeah.
And my sister has some issues, but she has a cardiologist, and she's in fact the cardiologist she had. I think she recently retired, but the cardiologist she had was my dad's cardiologist before he went to Cleveland.
Hmm.
So we
Well,
still think very much of them.
it's important though too. Like I think that that's the biggest thing. I think a lot of people don't do this, and I'm guilty of this myself. Like I need to go see the doctor. I haven't seen him in a while to go get that yearly checkup. I think it's
Mhm.
really with men, they don't even more because women have to go for other reasons, but men, they essentially, you could go years. I mean, it used to be you don't go to the doctor unless you're dying, and
Right.
I
Yeah.
think that it's important that you make sure that you're getting that yearly physical because they may catch something early and they may know and may have been able to
Hmm.
prevent something from happening. It's like preventative maintenance.
Right. Yeah. Hmm.
Yep. And you work in insurance, so like you know daily the struggle of getting those things
Oh my
handled.
word. Yeah. There's some days I'm just like, seriously?
Yeah. I think that the medical field is super stupid right now because I think they want to prevent you from having the services that you need and deserve because they don't want to pay for it. But they want to take your money every month and use that
Right.
money.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like the insurance companies try to figure out a way to not pay.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Yep. And then you got to argue with them. Like my mom, I swear, they used to like there's one thing that I'll never do is be double covered because I don't want to argue with them about who should cover what, like that's one of those things.
Mm.
It's ridiculous.
Oh. Oh yeah, we get that all the time. We get
Yeah.
that all. That's annoying.
Yep. Someone should cover
And
this,
then
someone should
yeah.
cover that. And it's like, no, listen, one of you decide you're going to cover as much as you'll cover. And then the other people need to cover that. And it's like, it's just a fight all the time.
Right. Yeah. Coordination of benefits. That's what it is.
Yep.
If you have like double coverage or triple coverage.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about TikTok. So you're on TikTok. What got you on there, and why were you there?
Well, around October of last year, I posted my first video, and the only reason I posted it was because on Facebook, I'm in a couple of fitness groups, and one friend on there posted a really cool video using music, and I'm like, "Oh, how'd you do that?" And she said she made it on TikTok, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I went. I was on TikTok, and I just kind of watched videos and stuff like that. I think that's how most people start.
Yep.
And so I picked a Shinedown song, of course, and just did like a fitness challenge. We were doing some kind of push up plank challenge, and I posted it. I'm like, I tried not to post it. I'm like, how can I not post it? I didn't know it. I still don't know much about TikTok. I'm like, I
Right.
don't want to post this. I look lame, but I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't care. I'll just post it. So I posted it, and I was able to share it to the Facebook group. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. And got some comments on it. I think one person laughed at it. I'm like, okay, whatever. Um, I have one of my best friends is on TikTok, but she just watches videos. She doesn't post content. I don't think she's really on there. And then some other people, commented. And I'm like, oh, cool. And I saw you commented recently too.
Yeah, I went back and I found the last one.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, he found it. Cool. Yeah. And then I decided, and then I posted like another video, something about music. And I don't know, I just got, maybe I'll post more. And I just kind of found people. I mean, at first I was finding people that wanted to date. And it was like not the good side of TikTok. And then
Right.
I found Christopher James, Lumber Snack Nation.
Uh-huh.
And then I found some other good people on there. And then I found Pops of Five, and Sensible Mac, who's back. Yes.
Yep. Mac is back.
Mac is back. And found you. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is good. And then I got addicted, so to speak.
Well, it's crazy because there's just so many good people on there that spread and I think that it's tough. I finally what did I have it on? I had it on private or something like that, on friends only or whatever. Mm-hmm. This video, that the one that's got the most views out of everything, that basically kind of made me have this anxiety attack and like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore, because they start to trash you after a while because they're jealous. I mean, when you have 109,000 people looking at something, they start to come out of the woodworks. They're like, oh, how did this guy do this? How that, and this, whatever. It's like, I just had the same idea that someone else did. I just copied what someone else did. I just used my voice. Right. And then next thing you know, here we are. And I think that's the toughest part, is dealing with that criticism that people give you, but realizing that they're idiots because they just don't have anything better to do than terrorize you. Right.
Yeah, exactly. I guess I'm lucky on my videos. I haven't really gotten any trolls. Mm-hmm. I've been lucky, but honestly, I think if I had more trolls, I would be upset. I'll admit it. I'm pretty sensitive. So,
yeah.
But
I don't know. It's a great thing. Like, I've met some pretty cool people on there, and I don't think that, that's what I enjoy about it. Until recently, there's been some issues. Like, I mean, I'm getting more followers, but it's like, you don't get to meet any more new people, right? Like, they've suppressed things so much that it's basically turned into Instagram. So it's kind of like disheartening to see that, because it's not, you don't get to, we want to make it SEO based so that it doesn't matter. Like, you have to go in there and you have to write something out and make them find a reason to see it. And I don't know. It's kind of changed a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's tough.
Yeah, I know I've gotten out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, for sure.
Posting like silly stuff, I would never have done that before. Like dancing around, and playing the broom as a guitar, or salad servers as drums, or a whisk as a microphone.
Yeah. They all have their special instruments that you have that you
exactly. And it really got out of my comfort zone. So, TikTok's done that for me. And, all the positive people, including you, have been very encouraging. And I love that. And, as someone who has anxiety, it's comforting. It's comforting. I'm learning to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it's cool to have you on here. I know that we talked a little bit about this and we're working on it, and I need to do a little more research into it, but we're going to probably start a radio show. So
yes.
It's super exciting. If you guys haven't checked out, I had Wolf K on 3 or 4 episodes ago, and he has his own radio station, and we're kind of on there. It's every Saturday. He calls it Silly Post Saturday, but yeah. Hey, that's a nice cup.
Yeah, it's a nice cup.
He has a real nice shirt too.
Yeah, he does.
So do you.
Those too. Yeah.
I told him he's got to make it in red for me to get one. So we'll see if he can do it. But yeah, we're talking about doing that. And I think, you should let us in. You should chime in if you guys are listening to this and you see us on TikTok. Let us know what you think. But I think we're going to start one. We're going to do this is kind of the basis of what my thoughts was like, we each bring 3 songs, and maybe it's just like an hour show or whatever, but we each bring 3 songs and we talk about them and how they motivate us, because I think that there's so much music out there right now that people don't get a chance to hear and they don't know, because it's all being suppressed. A lot of artists are going independent now.
That's true. Yeah.
I just got off an interview with Dallas Walker, who's like, I'm doing this independent because I don't want to have a big record label sign me and take all my money and take all my proceeds and things like that. And so those are the ones that don't get the radio play. Jake Rose, who I've interviewed before and is the lead singer of New Medicine, same kind of thing. It's like they told me, like I signed this big record deal and they cut us loose because we wouldn't write the music that they wanted to hear. We wanted to write the music that we want to hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and I think that's the big thing between those that you don't hear. Like Adelita's Way is independent too. And I know Shinedown's not. Shinedown's huge. These are a little bit smaller bands, but I think it'll be good to be able to bring that and just like we do the research and then we figure out what we want to talk about. We'll play the song, we'll talk about it, play another song, talk about it, and it'll be awesome.
Awesome. Yes, I'm excited.
Yep. So we'll have to get on that a little bit more. And
yes, definitely. This
is more me than you because my trying to find time to do everything, but I know I can do it. I just
you're a busy guy.
Just got to put it in
definitely.
there.
Yeah.
So, well, it's been good having you on here. Where do you want? Tell us again. What is this at Nikki the Bacon Lover on TikTok?
TikTok. It's the Bacon Lover Nikki.
The Bacon. Okay. We've changed it. AJ went ahead and changed her name too, which is driving me crazy because I got to figure it out again. Here we go again. I see, at least the picture's not changed. If she changed the picture, we're in trouble because I can't figure it out.
Yeah. Well, at least it's still AJ on there. It's just last part of it. So
yeah. Well, awesome. It was great to have you on. I'm sure we'll talk soon and we'll get this radio show thing figured out.
Awesome. I'm excited.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for hanging out. That is the end of the show. Until next time, I challenge you to find the shape of your success.